Sitting is not an option, I guess, today. There's cats in every chair. If you're new here, hi, my name is Karis. I am an artist and creature creator, and I predominantly make miniatures out of clay. And there are a lot of scraps left over, and I put them inside of this ginormous bin, where I save them so that hopefully we can use them in the future. Now, we have kind of made a theme on this channel. We made a little bit of a series of me closing my eyes, shoving my hands in the bin, grabbing what I can, and trying to figure out what I can make with it. So that is what we are going to do today. We turn the trash into treasure, garbage into glory.
Hey, yo, it's now time for me to pick from bin number 1. I'm gonna shut my eyes.
Oh, this is an unpleasant sensation.
I'm blindly digging into squishy stuff, which is, autumnal. Oh, I only grabbed like pebbles. These are my meager offerings. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna grab a real good fistful. Something big, something big. Yeah, this is a mess. Okay, so what have we got in here? We got like, oh, it's very festive. This is definitely a Christmas clump. Christmas clump, Christmas clump, Christmas clump. Fun fact, clump is one of my husband's nicknames. Let's pick from another bin. Next up, we have got a big Ziploc bag of my favorite. So again, same principle, shoving our hands in, making a choice. Oh no, little bits come with me. We've only got one bin left, and I have to use one of the mystery bags from that bin. I separated colors out into different Ziploc bags that I thought maybe could be useful later. So whatever the bag is, there is some sort of a theme to it. Get that bag, baby! Get that bag! Eyes are shut. Rummaging. I don't want the big bag of purple. There's gonna come a day. I know there's a big bag of purple in here and I don't want it because I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm not picking this, but like what? Who just threw this in here? Okay. A good overall rounding color. I could really use this. I am really glad that I pulled this one out. All right, Maestro, show them what we got. We have got the Christmas clump, I don't even know what to call this. It's like a blob and it's a problem. It's a bloblum. This is the bloblum. So what I'm planning on doing is a very special little technique. They are all full of these like gross little crummy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate them out into sections, blend them all together. Here's everything before I have started my blending. There's one little sad foxy in there that fell on the ground. So I'm gonna turn these into little balls and then I'm gonna put them through the pasta maker so that we can get our final colors. There's always one lump that I have no idea what color it's gonna turn out to be because it's such a mess. Today it's this one. So make sure that you guess in the comments, what color do you think this is gonna be? I can't tell you. I think it's gonna be some kind of brown. I guess we'll find out now. Well, I was right. It was in fact some kind of brown. It's like a slightly chocolatey tan with just a little bit of shimmer in it. Alrighty, so these are our finished clay blends. I have separated them into more neutral tones as well as our sort of rainbow selection that we have over here. I am going to take a quick break. I'm gonna take a picture of this and I'm gonna go grab some boba tea and see what inspiration strikes. I have had a break and maybe a breakthrough. I've made a lot of these little tiny T-Rex styles. And so when I was staring at all of these, I thought to myself, okay, you know how you hire out a party room? He's a walking party room from the Jurassic era. I'm gonna try and figure out the skeleton first. We're gonna make that out of aluminum foil. Might need some supports or some wire. The very technical term for what I'm building here is called a taco dome, and for our wires, I did 3 and then twisted them together because they're gonna be holding a lot of weight with clay. For the last little bit here, I have been kind of struggling to figure out how I'm gonna attach all this together. I think we are going to be working in layers just to make it easier. So I'm going to build this cave first. Oh my God, what if I lined it with all disco ball shards? I need to calm down. I'm just gonna get the outer casing ready so that we can start building our foundation for the sculpture. Also, some of y'all that aren't familiar with what polymer clay is, it is not an air dry clay that has to go in the oven. I'm gonna go bake this in one of its first stages here. It's almost gonna be like a painting. We have to put it in the oven, bake it so that it will dry. So we're just gonna be kind of layering things on and building our sculpture up. So right now we're just kind of working on like the skeleton. Also, since figuring out my design, I decided that for the skeleton, I was going to make use of a little bit of each of the colors that were maybe less than desirable to hold the wires in place.
He's already got some attitude.
Guys, it's standing on its own. I'm gonna bake this now. This is gonna be me hitting the save point because if I do anything more, structure might start falling apart. So while that is in the oven, I was doing a little bit of like a color check. I took a rough summary of some of the colors that we've got and popped that onto our dino body. I know that we have a large amount of pink. I don't know if you guys remember at the very beginning of this video, I was complaining that I didn't want the giant bag of purple.
I know there's a big bag of purple in here and I don't want it.
I think I might need the giant bag of purple. I was gonna do this dinosaur pink. Something about it is not appropriate to me. But when we make it purple, then it's fun and friendly and fresh. The pink is like too fleshy, I think. And theoretically, I invented this game, so if I need to bend the rules.
Feel like a kid sneaking in the cupboard to get the cookies. Oof. I'm not supposed to be here. There it is. I've been afraid of you.
Our little baby is back from the oven, and I think the first step that I would like to start the interior.
And I do kind of want it to feel like a cool party room. What's up, you guys?
Hey, yo! So I got these at the dollar store. They are disco tiles. You can disco tile anything.
Okay, so to kick things off, I'm using one of the lighter pinks for our flooring undercoat. I didn't think it went as well with our vision. And then I got our wallpaper sort of cut to size, but I had to do it while gently folding things and trying my best not to create any bubbles. Once I had our base layer installed and I had filled in any unseemly cracks or crevices, it was time for me to start putting in our little tiles. Installing these was actually relatively simple. I just measured it out grid-wise and then sliced it so that I could put a strip in of however many I needed and what would fit.
I'm not gonna lie, it made me confident I could maybe tile my bathroom, which I probably shouldn't.
Like little pieces of glass coming off as I'm cutting too. I'm like, oh, okay, that's dangerous. I can hear it and see it. There's little bits of glass and mirror everywhere now. It's dangerous. I'm actually really enjoying this. This is $1's worth of fun. I'm gonna have to clean this after though. There are tiny shards of glass all over the tray. Oh my god. Maybe use one of these X-Acto knives instead of using scissors like I did.
Despite the sharp learning curve, get it, because of the shards of glass, I really enjoyed installing this disco tile flooring.
It's time to start the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to clean up glass shards on the Carrie Show tonight. Da-da-da-da.
So the next step for our dino is I think we're going to add some embellishments on the walls in here and around the edges of the walls just so that it feels a little bit more like a party.
So that you guys can understand a little bit of what I'm going for, I felt super inspired by the disco tile flooring and was hopeful that if I made the interior of our taco dome kind of colorful, that it would reflect off of the flooring and make it so that it was like this sort of psychedelic, groovy 1960s rainbow candy explosion. Now, when it came time to actually build the skin of our dinosaur, I had ended up trimming the tail just a little bit so that it was kind of shorter and cuter, and I wanted our dino to have some substance to him, so I was adding really thick layers because I wanted it to look kind of babyish and sweet. For the eyes, I opted for yellow contrasting colors so that they would really stand out and pop, and then I slapped on a big old snoot. Now, I am about to do something that may shock some of you that are familiar with my channel. I actually decided that I wanted our dino to be smiling.
It's pretty weird seeing my work smiling at me. After so many years of pretty much everything I've made, frowning, it's a little odd, but I like it. It fits. It's a party dinosaur. Oh, I'm so sorry. I turned the camera on so that I could talk to you guys for a second. My face was just this after I did that.
There was literally no damage done to the dino, so it was onwards and upwards. For the legs, I made these thick, chunky ovals and gently lowered the wire into them so that our dino would be standing on his own. After I had all of the front portions attached, it was just time for me to fill in any of the crevices and get things nice and smoothed out so that we had accurate proportions.
Okay, I think this is a good point for us to take a break because I have finished a project that I've been working on for the last 2 years. Why don't we go have a look?
This cute and clumsy little fellow is called an Airy. Airies are a species of pet spirit that follow humans around when they are in need. And we're about to witness this one on its transformation and migration to its new owner. This particular Airy is using echolocation to sense someone who may be speaking ill of themselves. The trail has led them here, where they can sense someone might need a little bit of a hug, and they just let themselves in. That's a bit naughty, Airy. Well, you seem to be making yourself at home. Well, never mind. Since we're here, introducing the Airy plush. It lights up when you press the little heart on its wing. And it's soft enough that you can cuddle it at the same time. The perfect companion to light and warm even the darkest of hearts. And it's available for adoption at cariscuttlefish.com right now. And now back to the studio.
I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. I have been working so hard to A, teach myself how to animate, B, to design that all on my own, and C, figure out how we were going to get everything produced. It's been a really long road, but I'm so happy that we're finally here and that I can share something so special with all of you. Now, what's going on with our dino friend here? Well, I had decided after our little break that it was looking a little bit too smooth, so I had added some texture and wrinkles where the skin would have been folding up, and I also thought that we needed some eyelids and bubbling cheeks to make it look extra friendly. The snout was also looking a little bit bare to me, so I thought that some nostrils were in order, and it worked out quite nicely because it kind of ended up looking like a secondary smiley face. To merge everything together, I ended up using one of my favorite silicone tools. It acts like an extra tiny little finger. I don't know what I would do without these. I applied our texturizing technique all over the body using some circle cutters in patterns, as well as a dotting tool, and then creating lines in any of the crevices so that it looked like the skin was bunching up in all the appropriate areas. Okay, so I have hit my save point. I'm about to pop this into the oven. When I come back, I will be adding a little bit more onto the tummy just because this feels a little bit flat. I'm going to be doing its undercarriage and I don't want to mess with any of this that I've already created. I'm gonna put this in the oven and save the face. I'm really happy with how the face sculpt turned out. It's really cute. Now you might have seen me poking a wire into the top of the head before we put it in the oven. I started working on making a little party hat for our friend because I was getting way too excited for the decorating portion. I know that the body is not fully covered yet, but I could not help it. It needed a party hat. I needed to start decorating. I was adamant that the party hat needed to be absolutely covered in pom-poms, so I added all of these different colors to the base, and then I used a ball tool to push everything out in a little bit of a pattern starting from the outer edges so that it looked like it was nice and fluffy. I also used this technique to replicate marigolds.
Never thought I'd say this, but we are starting to get to the bottom of this bag. Oh, it's exciting.
Since we had satiated the decorating dark urge, it was time for me to get back to the bodybuilding. For the back of our dino, I put the purple through the pasta maker and then folded the edge so that hopefully it would match what was going on with the interior of the taco dome. Now, I think the only part of this project that I wasn't necessarily the most pleased with was the back. I'm never really going to be looking at it, but it was kind of difficult to get everything to look succinct, especially because I had the aluminium foil back there making everything so bumpy. If you guys have any tips about how I could have made this a little bit smoother, please let me know. It took a lot of finagling for me to get it to a place where I was at least okay with it and said I could bake it. Now that I had had a taste of the decorating dark urge, it was time for us to completely unleash it into the wild. Now, the actual reason that I wanted to do this project was because I'd gotten it in my head that I needed to do a stegosaurus with spines made out of gumdrops. We've got our gumdrop spines here. Now, I have a little bit of fake sugar, and I'm going to roll our gumdrops around in the fake sugar, and then I'm going to secure them to the top of our stegosaurus. I poked him right in the eye. I kind of regret not putting some of the fake sugar on here, so I'm actually going to use a little bit of this glue and put some of the fake sugar on there as well so that this looks kind of like a gumdrop. I'm thinking maybe I might try doing one of those like rainbow candy strips as the bow. Fingers crossed we can pull something like that off. Now, there have been a few times in my life as an artist that I have tried to do this technique and I've always ended up stuffing it up. Basically, the technique is that you roll out noodles of an equal length and you kind of gently tap them together before securing them with a rolling pin. The lines on the bottom after I had used the rolling pin looked relatively wiggly, but when I flipped it over, they were perfect and straight. So I was very nervous cutting this and working with it because I was so scared that I was going to mess it up, you guys. I didn't mess it up. I didn't mess it up. Now, because I had figured out the length of everything, I decided that I was going to be extra bold and do sort of a fancy wave in our ribbons. But when I was gluing it in place, the fear returned. Oh my God, you guys, I'm so nervous. My hand is shaking. Come on, girly, calm down. I really don't want to mess it up. I didn't. For the first time in my career, I tried something and I didn't mess it up. And then I made a rainbow pom-pom for the dino's hat. Up to this point, I have not done anything really with the neutral stuff. I gotta make a cake, and I just came up with a pretty cool idea for how we can make use of some of those browns. Over the last couple of years, I have made a plethora of these tiny dinos, and there was one style in particular that I wasn't necessarily the most pleased with. It was the skeleton dino, so I thought here I would rework it and kind of make it look like we had a fossilized dino that was stuck inside of some sediment. The reason that I hadn't really liked the original version of this was because I had painted on the skeleton, but this time the skeleton was three-dimensional, and I felt a lot happier with how it turned out. The cake was literally a piece of cake because it was just two balls stacked on top of each other, and then I used a little bit of fake whipping cream to add some gummy details, but when I was icing it, I didn't really think about how I was gonna put it down.
Uh-oh, how am I gonna put this down?
In the grand scheme of things, it was not a big deal. Now that I had made everything that I had set out to, I knew exactly how much clay I had left, and so with a majority of the bright colored scraps, I went ahead and made a bunch of little tiny things just so that we could have that extra detail in there. I also wanted to add an extra layer of dimension to our dino, so one of the techniques with all of these crevices that we've got is I did a little bit of some dark and light underpainting, where I just wiped some of this dark paint into some of the crevices so they stood out more. I also painted on some confetti so that it looked like our dino had been wandering through a parade with our party guests. And that's it. It's time for us to check and see how many scraps we have left. After we've sculpted everything, this is all of the clay that we've got left. I'm actually really happy because we managed to use the majority of everything. And this is all that we have left of the bright colors. I didn't entirely kill that bag of purple, but if I end up pulling this one in another one of our videos, it's gonna be a lot more reasonable. And don't worry about the scraps. They went exactly where they came from.
Would you look at that? My desk is empty.
I guess that means it's time for the moody glamour shots. Enjoy! What I would not give to get an invitation to this particular party. So I have to say that I think my absolute favorite thing about this is our taco dome. I had thought that the dinos were gonna be cute in there, but I couldn't anticipate just how cozy and sweet they were going to be cuddled up next to this cake. I think we need to make my miniatures more places to hang out. What do you think? Thanks so much for hanging out with me, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will consider subscribing. I love this dino. It's gonna make a great addition to my desk, and every day when I've got to get to work, it's gonna be staring at me and smiling. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for ways to support the channel, I hope that you will consider going and checking out that new plush that I showed you earlier. If you are watching this, it is available right now. It's fun, it's cute, it's functional. It makes an excellent nightlight and an excellent cuddle buddy. So thank you guys so much for all the fun today. Remember to be nice to yourself and to each other. Okay, I love you. Bye!